Recording. Hey, everybody. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for joining today's live session, TuneCore live session, excuse me. I'm Kevin Cornell, and today we're going to be talking about all things Instagram. A major social media platform, obviously. Instagram has become an important part of any artist's marketing mix, whether it's engaging fans with fun and thoughtful or relevant topical photo and video content, or if you're promoting new music and building a follow and that converts to sales and streams elsewhere. We're going to be covering it all today. You cannot see me, unfortunately, because we hit a camera limit. So I have my lovely guests here taking up the camera space. And I will introduce them in a second, but just wanted to clarify that. So thanks for your patience. Thanks for joining us. The great thing about Instagram is that it's always improving, always evolving. Just last month, they rolled out Reels, which is a short form video feature with tons of cool editing tools. TuneCore already helps artists make their songs available on Instagram and Facebook at no cost. And today we're going to be chatting about, how you can improve your overall Instagram strategy as an artist. So without further ado, let me introduce my panel. Joining me today is Perry Bashkoff, head of music at Instagram, Jamie Sampson, music labels partnership at Facebook, and TuneCore artists Marlo Smith and Jacob Campbell. Marlo is a recent hot new hip hop heat seeker. Say that 5 times fast. And Jacob was actually recently a contestant on Netflix hit series Rhythm and Flow. So again, thanks for everyone for getting on this panel. Let's just jump in. I'm going to start out with a question for everyone. I'll kind of go around in a circle. And it's really basic. It's for folks who are, aware of Instagram, using Instagram maybe, but just starting to get their feet wet as an artist on Instagram. So I'd love to know what everyone has to think about sort of what they think the first steps of setting up an artist profile on Instagram should be. And Perry, I'll kick this off with you.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys. Really, really honored to be here. Happy to be speaking with everybody about what we got going on. I mean, look, the basics of being on Instagram is it's your opportunity to show who you are, what you like, your passions, your music, everything in between on the platform, and connect with fans who have similar passions, similar likes, other artists, etc. So look, the basics of it are make sure you got a clean profile photo so that people know who you are when they're scrolling through. Make sure your name is not something crazy. And what I mean by that, not your name, but don't be changing the name of your profile to something that's not searchable. If people are looking for Jacob Campbell, you want them to search for Jacob Campbell, not for something crazy. Leave the emojis out, leave all the fancy stuff out. You can put all that in the description field. Make it as easy as possible for people to find you. Use the link in bio the right way. Whether you're going to some sort of link tree thing or whether you're going to a specific link, use all of that. And then of course, get active. And the key to our platform is being authentic and being consistent. So you want to make sure that you're not doing too much promo, but just enough so that people know what's coming. But they want the opportunity to see what's going on in your world from the time you wake up until the time you go to sleep. Some people probably want to watch you sleep, but that's a whole different panel. But be authentic and be consistent. Our best practice for posting, if you're just starting out or you're there, it's the same. You want to be posting stories every day for sure. You want to be posting to your feed 3 to 4 times a week. Videos are probably better than audio or than images. They always get a little bit more engagement. IGTV where it makes sense, live of course where it makes sense, and then Reels, which we'll dig into, just kind of works into all of it. But again, this is the opportunity to really, really touch fans and touch new audiences and new colleagues even, in a way that you may not have. So those are the basics of getting things set up. And then there's always, little tricks and stuff that we can dig into.
Cool. I think you covered a lot there. Obviously, we're going to dive into Reels, as you mentioned. I did want to, chat with both of our artists on here because, as artists, they are using this as a tool. But, they kind of have to think back to when they first got started. And, I had a question specifically for Jacob. Jacob, when you first, started getting active on Instagram, just in terms of promoting your music, what were you finding out that worked for you and what didn't work for you? And, obviously this has all evolved, but, how did you adjust your strategy when you looked at that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's all trial and error. I found out, like Perry said, more visual posts gain more engagement than just posting your cover art over and over and over like 5 times a day, that's not gonna get people to go look at your music. I found, you want something they can see that gives them a small serving size of you, that makes them want to go see more, want to go click that link in the bio. And definitely for artists, like definitely starting a new page, don't make your Instagram private first thing, because they can't share your post if it's private. And I know a lot of artists that try to do that. Like, no, first thing, setting up your Instagram, make it public. Like you said, have a good profile picture, nice bio, make it clear and consensus who you are. You're a rapper. This is what I do. And then them posts, they want to see you rap. They want to see what you do. So, like I said, I found more visual things to work better than just posting pictures. Also, just making more personable posts. Also show a different side from the artist side, being more personable, show your life, like you said, from sun up, sun down. They want to know it all.
And, on that note, Marlo, of all the features and opportunities that Instagram, gives to artists in terms of expressing themselves, what's been a focal point for your overall strategy from when you got started on Instagram to the present day?
Yeah, I think kind of all that stuff. I kind of wanted to keep it simple. I think that it could be a bit overwhelming for people sometimes. So like, I think what I did was just try to keep it simple and like be myself. And I think you kind of treat it like a homepage, like it's your website, it's your homepage, it's somewhere people can come to. There's a lot of things you can do with it. You have fun with it. I think the biggest key for me, I used to actually not be on social media at all. And so I kind of overcame some like social anxieties myself. And I think I always thought to myself, like just having fun with it. Posting things that were true to me. And I think like high quality imagery really changed things for me. At first I was using like an old iPhone and taking photos, but we went and got a good camera and really started going out and shooting places that restaurants I like to go to, or like museums I like to go to and stuff like that. And just catch yourself in your element. And, I think that the truth resonates well with people.
Very great. Yeah, I think we just lost Jacob for a second, but I'm sure he'll sign back on. Looks like it's like one of those days for technical difficulties.
If I could, Kevin, if I could just jump on what Marlo said there, like I think really one of the most important things is check the ego at the door when you start posting, right? Like you're gonna post, and it's cool that your first 6, 7, whatever posts don't get the likes you want, your follower counts aren't going up, whatever. Like, don't take it personally. It's all good. No one's gonna remember. Attention span of all internet users is like 2.5 seconds. So don't worry about it. Just keep posting. You're gonna find your rhythm. You're gonna find your flow. You're gonna be consistent. Be authentic, like Perry said, and that sort of the anxiety you're talking about, Marlo, like it'll go away. You'll find it comes naturally the more you do it. And if being natural is posting 2 times a day versus 10 times a day, that's cool too. Just be yourself and find that flow, and don't react a little too, don't take it personally, if things aren't succeeding the way you want when you get out of the gate.
Yeah. And I think Marlo touched on something there too, when he started talking about, sort of leveling up in terms of the type of equipment he's using, the type of intention that he's applying to his shots. And this is definitely a question for everyone. And Marlo, maybe I'll start with you. Just what do you think artists who are just getting established on Instagram should keep in mind as it pertains to establishing a certain visual aesthetic for their profile? And I ask you first because I feel like your Instagram profile has that. And what can artists sort of keep in mind when it comes to developing something like that?
I think the first thing you got to know is like it's a visual platform, right? So there's a lot of things that go into the success, like your captions and your engagement, and how often you're engaging throughout the world of Instagram. But your content really matters a lot. I think what I focused on initially was I noticed that I was really intrigued by people that had like a good aesthetic on their page overall, right? Some people they were they'll go to your page and they'll just look at a grid format and they'll just scroll down and they kind of just want to get a gist of who you are. And if that's aesthetically pleasing, if you have like this like like a pink color palette or a blue, whatever it is, and like these like tints, the Photoshop magic on everything that kind of makes it cohesive, I think it just helps. It helps a lot. It jumps out at people. I think it's a balance of that, and then also just like your regular feed scrolling down. So like having something that was a challenge for me. I try to make it so that if you're looking at a grid, it looks great. And if you click in and you want to scroll, like you're getting really good content. And really good photos, really good videos, and all that stuff at the same time. The experience either way is good.
I just want to say welcome back to Jacob. He just he dug out there for a second.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi went out.
It's all good. This is one of those days. Perry, I wanted to hear your thoughts on.
Yeah, I was going to add to what Marlo was saying. I mean, look, the goal is to get people to your profile, of course. But the truth of the matter is people are not landing on your profile unless there's great content to begin with, because they're scrolling through the feed and then they're scrolling and tapping through stories. So look, there's a lot of different thought processes around what your profile and the grid should look like. We've seen everything from, even my kids do this, where they try to layer the images together to make one big grid. Think about how that showed up in feed also. You probably pissed off a bunch of people as you just posted 37 photos that equal one big one, right? But it's all about that content, that stories content, that feed content that's going to drive people back to your feed, where then they land on your, what I call your gallery. So when I look at all the different surfaces, and we'll leave reels out, your feed is kind of your gallery, right? You look at artwork behind me, that sort of thing. What are the things that you would put up in your house, in your college dorm room, wherever you are, that is representative of you? Stories are going to be real time. Again, that's going to be from waking up to going down to sleep. And those can be multiple times a day. Don't do too many, but enough. So you got the feed, you got the stories, and then working in those other pieces around the different surfaces. What I was going to say is, people are opening Instagram a crazy number of times. Before COVID, they were opening a crazy number of times. Multiply that with nothing else to do and everyone's home and whatnot. You're in the 50 to 80, sometimes even more times per day, right? So when they're opening that many times per day, you want to show up in those stories bubbles as many times as possible. And then you just got to think to yourself, what do you want to see? When you're opening your own Instagram and you're looking at the people that you follow, what are you tapping into? What's making you stop? What's making you stop, pause, hold on that story? What's making you stop during that scroll? Incidentally, people are scrolling the length of the Empire State Building a day, right? What's going to make them stop and look at your content? That's where you're going to start getting people to follow, to bang into your profile and whatnot. So think about the content thing and then use the different surfaces to play off of each other. Give the story, post on feed, share the story. You want people bouncing around, but you got to be there regularly. You got to be there regularly, regardless of whether or not it's your content, it's sharing other people's content, it's sharing giving call to actions to fans to create content that you can repost. That's cool. The truth of the matter is, people want to see you. You're an artist, they want to see you. They want to hang with you. They want to Zoom with you. They want to whatever. So give them that insight that no one else can give except you.
That's great advice, Perry. And I think, it's super important for someone in your position to be sort of reinforcing that. Obviously, we love to hear from artists, but like coming from the inside of Instagram, and I think, it's just like anything else with marketing. It's getting used to promoting yourself. It's getting used to letting people into your lives. The most creative people in the world can still have issues with that. It's not surprising. But while I have you, and you sort of went through some of the different formats, I definitely want to jump into talking about Reels. Again, so if you're just joining us or if you joined us a little late, we wanted to sort of give a little bit more of an explainer about Instagram Reels, which launched last month. It's a short form video feature, which I'm going to let Perry and Jamie talk about. And then we're going to get into a little bit more about how, we can use it to showcase an artist's personality or bring more fans into the world and all the different discoverability options. So without further ado, if you want to just kind of tell us a little bit more about Instagram Reels, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, let me give the high level, and then Jamie could probably give some specific examples of some of the stuff. But this is our short form entertainment surface. So when we first put it out, a bunch of people said, "Well, geez, guys, like you're just adding another surface. It's kind of confusing at this point. Like, what do we use? Stories and feed and IGTV and live and everything." Okay, so think about this as like the entertainment surface. And why did we do it? Well, look, that's what's happening in the market. We had to create and answer what's happening in the market. So we have this short form video surface, which is essentially 15 seconds, creative dance challenges, funny things, behind the scenes, promo, whatever, advocacy, whatever you want. You can add music, you can make edits, you can add AR filters. It's not a separate app. If you've done a story or you've taken a photo within the IG camera, you can make a reel. So if you have your IG today, you open it up, you open up the camera. Along the bottom, you're going to see that swipe that's going to give you the option to create or reels. Once you tap into reels, you have a bunch of editing tools on the left-hand side. Go ahead and find your song. If your song is going through TuneCore, it's probably in the catalog already. Select the song that you want to put in the back of your dance or your dog or whatever is happening, right? And create a bunch of different edits, up to 15 seconds. We're going to experiment with a bunch of different time lengths in the future. But it gives you the opportunity to create these cool entertainment type videos. Now, the biggest difference about Reels, before I kick it to Jamie for some other context and examples, is Reels is our first surface that we call unconnected. And unconnected means you have the ability to get in front of people that don't follow you. So if you've messed around with Reels already, you're probably scrolling through and you're saying, who the hell are all these people? I don't follow half these people. That's the point. And so thinking of it as an artist, right, you're saying, okay, cool, now I can get in front of people. I can be on the big stage regardless of how many followers you have. So if you're just starting out, you have 100 followers, no problem. You get treated the same way as you do with someone who has a million followers. It's based on the content you create. If you create engaging content, it's going to show up. It's going to be there more often. People are going to watch it, engage with it, view it, share it to stories, etc. So again, when you're doing it, I think it was Jacob who said it. Make sure your profile is public, because you have the ability to share it into this new kind of unconnected experience that is Reels. And you're going to see us continue to just bring that surface into as many touch points as possible. So, Jamie, maybe you want to talk a little bit about some of the examples or how people are using it, kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. So, the first thing that comes to my mind, and I think it's tough to talk about Reels without talking about the music part of it, obviously, because it's so central. And in this context, we're talking about music. I have something in mind. We work with an artist. They have a song called "Moment in the Sun," right? And what they've done is they shared a reel which had their audio in the background, the song "Moment in the Sun," and then said to their fans, "All right, I want to see all of you guys just sharing your favorite moment in the sun with our song." Right? So it's the soundtrack to that moment. It's the quick 15 seconds. And they're going out and they're getting that viral pickup, right? And so then, because of Reels, you can tap on this button that taps on the song, and then you see the song page, and then you can go see all of the Reels made with that song. I think it's important to sort of, get some sort of tie-in between the song and the reel that you're creating. It gives your audience and it gives your fans purpose, right? I think this moment in the sun is a great example because it actually gives them something to do. Reels is a new platform, right? And even Instagram users, I've been on Instagram since 2012. It's like, I first got it and I was like, what do I do? And having that sort of direction from you as an artist is going to be really valuable. And it's going to help you see what your fans are starting to react to. So you've got different songs, try these kinds of things out. I think also, you'll see a lot of artists sort of using, tapping into challenges, that are going on, and that sort of, so someone clicks on that hashtag and then they see your post show up, and then your fans start to do it, and that kind of rides that wave. That's a really easy way to generate a little more awareness for yourself. I think that, you'll see sort of those creative hooks, like those quick changes that people do. Everyone's super into that. Other platforms may popularize that, but we certainly got it. Using the sort of thing that's in the zeitgeist is I think really important, and that just helps you, again, like we were talking about earlier, it helps you find your flow. helps you figure out what you feel comfortable doing. Your fans pick up on that, then they start feel comfortable doing it. But the best thing you can do is just challenge them, and I don't mean in like the challenge sense, I mean in the use my song sense to get going, and then that flywheel is going to start to happen.
Let me add one other thing. What we're seeing, and look, we've been live for about 45 days here in the US and in major territories. We had a few territories that were testing out beforehand. The folks that are leaning in, the folks that are posting reels regularly in this kind of public unconnected experience, they're seeing some huge follower growth. And when I say huge, we're talking about 30, 40, 50%. 50% follower growth for the folks that are leaning in. What types of content is driving a lot of that? It's the people that are comfortable kind of playing with themselves, having fun, pushing themselves out of their comfort zone, right? Little comedy meets music meets, hey, we're all in this together. Everyone's doing things from their home, no makeup, no super high-tech camera thing, right? Like we're seeing all kinds of different things. So, don't be afraid to experiment a little bit. You can actually create and draft. So you can create it, draft. You don't have to post it, right? So I'm encouraging people do that for sure. If you don't have like a Pinterest or a burner or something, but create, mess around with it. You can then so the other thing on this is make sure that you're tagging the people that you want to see it, right? So TuneCore is a community. Music is a community. We each have our we all have our sub communities and whatnot. If there's folks in your circle that you think would be great for this, for challenge, for execution, tag them so that they know. Tag them so that they're sharing it for their stories, and that will just expand the engagement on that, so that our system is looking at it and saying, "Cool, there's something going on here. We got to give it an extra piece of love." The last thing I'll say is we are again, it's early days, but we're looking for new opportunities on the platform to unearth developing art and new artists. So you're going to see some things coming from us in the coming months, hopefully, that do create these like new artist programs, for lack of a better phrase or name. But how do we get you on the big stage as often as possible? So more to come on that. But I always say the more you put in on this platform, the more you get out. Because we don't have a homepage today, we don't have neon lights and whatnot in Times Square. We have a platform that gives you that now opportunity to touch as many people as possible. So the more you put in, the more you get out.
Awesome, thank you guys. I mean, that was an incredible introduction of Reels. Sorry, Jamie, if you had some more to add there, I was gonna.
Just one last thing, and it's sort of a best practice: push it to all the surfaces. Right? You can push feed. You can push Reels to feed. You can push Reels to stories. Do it.
Oh, absolutely.
Make sure everyone's checking in and seeing it.
Yeah. This is huge. I mean, anyone who's tuning in, like maybe got our email about Reels, saw our blog post about Reels. It does take a little bit of time to adopt, I guess. And so I wanted to ask the artists on the panel just a couple questions about that. Specifically, Jacob, and this goes into Reels, but it goes into just how you use Instagram in general. In terms of how you use IG to establish, stronger relationships with your fans as your career has grown. How have you done that, and how can you sort of see Reels eventually playing a role in that down the line?
Well, yeah, I think it's such a big thing to like connect with fans on Instagram right now, not being able to do shows, not being able to travel as much. So we're not touching hands with these people anymore. So you really got to use Instagram to establish that relationship with your fans, because they're always going to remember that one time you DM'd them back, you commented back to them. They're always going to remember that. That's how you build core fans, people who come to your shows and will buy your album instead of just streaming it, is if you do stuff like that. I also love the sticker feature with the questions on the stories. I use that pretty frequently to have my fans just ask me any questions that they have. I try to respond to everybody. Last time I did it, I got like 1,000 questions, and they really enjoy that, it seems like. And like I said, with Reels, it's just about being personable. So I see that playing a big aspect into it. I think Reels is actually a good idea being 15 seconds, because we got IG Live that is over a minute. So that's for your longer content. Regular posts, 45, 30 seconds to a minute. And then you got the 15 seconds. So you got to just use a variety of posts. And I just feel like you said, with the artists you guys have with the sun thing, like that's engaging and building a relationship with your fans. Do this with my music. Let me see what you guys got creatively. I'll repost it on my page. Let me see who's the most creative. And I'm engaging with you. Oh, I love how you use my song right there. Like, let's continue to post these reels. And I feel like that's how I could use it in the future, especially with the music tab. Like, and you click on the song, it just got all the reels right there. That's so dope.
So imagine you take that example, right? And you say, okay, I'm going to start with a reel challenging fans to do whatever. And then over the course of the period of days, they start creating, you're sharing to stories. Now you're on 2 surfaces. You're already on feed because you've shared to the 3rd. But where are you going to ultimately wind up? You're going to pick 2 fans that you're going to go live with, right? And you're going to go live. You're going to have a conversation with them. So now you're on the 4th surface. And the last piece is to save that and post that to your IGTV. Well, now you've everything with literally one simple campaign. That was one song. And then what do you do next week, right? As a joke and example. But those are the types of things that when Jamie said, be on every surface because you're just going to show up more. They're going to see your face. They're going to see your brand. They're going to hear your songs. I think, and Jacob touched on, I know we're talking about reels, but boys, interactive stickers are the thing.
I love it.
Posting a picture is great. Posting a video with a poll, posting a picture with a quiz, right? Have people stop. Remember, it's the scroll and the tap that you want people to stop and see what's up. You want them to take an action. You want them to share. You want them to interact. You want them to whatever. So just imagine if you post a picture of yourself as opposed to a picture of, should I wear my hoodie like this or like this? And you got 2 different things, right? Like, it's just an interaction. So think about that as you're posting. Every post you're going to make, just think about, how do I make this interactive? And there's so many options there.
And I think the biggest misconception that a lot of artists have is a follower equals a fan, when it's not true. Not all followers are your fans. Not all followers listen to your music. It's your job to make these people love you for who you are and really get them to become a fan of you. Just because they follow you doesn't make them a fan.
Yeah, that's a huge point.
They may be fans of something that you're a fan of that isn't music. Honestly, I spent 20 years on the label side before I came to the tech side. One of the biggest reasons that I came here was because it gave the artist the ability to connect with people through passion. That's what our whole platform is about, right? Whether it's being a vegan, loving dogs, or music, right? Like, you can connect with all these people. So that's why it's so important to be authentic. If you're connecting, Marlo, you're in Jersey, I'm in Jersey. Cool. There's a connection immediately that we didn't have. I don't even, you don't know if I make music, but now we've got this different connection. So throwing those types of things up, where you're from, where you're at, do you have an animal, like all these kind of things, you just connect with people on a different level. Think about that as well.
Yeah, and we talk about, how we can sort of turn those followers into listeners. And Marlo, I wanted to shoot this one to you while we're talking about Reels and utilizing in the future. How do you envision utilizing a feature like Reels when it comes to doing what we probably all first think of when it comes to an artist on Instagram, and that's promoting an upcoming single or an album or a video?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was actually thinking about it last night, and I was playing with it. And right now we're working on a new album. So I think it's another tool in the toolbox, and I think they all serve a different purpose. I feel like it allows me to be more creative. So for me, I would use Rails and make almost like this slippage. And to me, I think like a almost like a sitcom. In a sense, like I can see it being like a sitcom, something that's the Chronicles of the Studio, or like these kind of things and these types of clips and edits, and it could just live there, right? And that could be like my thing. I do it. Obviously, try it first and see if it works out. But I've been taking some serious thought around like how to make it mine. Obviously looking at what other people are doing, but and taking that and making it work for me. And I think that's like super important for artists to take what's out there and then tweak it a little bit and see if that hits for you. I think Reels is I see it similar to how the stories were when they first came out. People were a little reluctant when the stories came out. It was like kind of like what's this thing? But then after a while, I jumped in on there, and my growth skyrocketed in a short amount of time. I figured IG is like prioritizing this, right? It's something that is being put out, so you got to be be aware that these guys are putting this out and they want people to engage with it. So you're going to have a better chance of growing your following and really, kind of taking things to the next level when you do utilize it and you're kind of an early pioneer. So it's something that I'm mulling my brain around constantly.
Yeah. It's funny. You don't think about that. It wasn't too long ago that stories got introduced, and it's like now if you're not doing stories, like what are you doing?
Right.
Which is just the nature of anything on social, really. Which is, I think we're gonna be having the exact same conversation about Reels, 9 months from now. But I wanted to kind of stay on the sort of connecting with fans topic and shoot back to Jacob. I've seen, aside from just doing like polls and stuff, I've seen you get sort of creative with fan input directly tied to dropping your music. What advice would you have, like, for any artists who are looking to sort of bring fans into the process of, like, I mean, at times your decision making, your creative direction?
I mean, I think it's a big thing. Like at the beginning of August, I put up a snippet of about 6 different songs. And I told them straight up, whichever song gets the most votes is the one I'm putting out. No ifs, ands, or buts. You tell me. I had a whole bunch I was working on in quarantine, so I thought, why not? But I think a lot of a lot of artists should bring fans in on this process, because not only one, I mean, these are the people who listen to your music. You might as well give them the one they want the most anyways. And then second, I really feel like it gives you a great gauge as what the fans like. So if you do put up a post like this, make sure it's a wide range of music or things you've been experimenting on. And that gives you a great gauge on what songs they're feeling, what songs they're kind of so on, and what songs they don't like. And then going ahead, okay, my fans like this type of music from me. Maybe I should make more of that and stuff like that. So I definitely feel like the fans love it. They love to be heard. Like, people who doesn't want to be heard. It's like, that's why I say, especially building these relationships, just be a regular person. Like I tell people all the time, like, I'm a regular person. Yes, I rap, but I talk back. I'm not rude or anything. You feel me? Who wants to just keep talking to somebody and they don't respond? You feel me? And these people are people who love you. So why would you not want to show your appreciation? And I just thought that was the best way. Like, you guys pick what song you want. I'm gonna give it to you. I don't care. You tell me.
Yeah, I mean that's huge in terms of fan input, in terms of what you're able to actually build there, and I really do love getting down to the specific song, like some of the examples you saw. If you want to go follow Jacob after this, and Marlo, I mean, I kind of wanted to, we are a little short on time, but I wanted to sort of shift the conversation a little bit. And as an artist on Instagram, Marlo, I wanted to know how you felt about how artists can use Instagram, not only to sort of lift up and support other artists, because everyone's starting out local, but also brands or causes that mean something to them. How can you use that as a platform?
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, man, like, social media is a reflection of the world that we live in, and it's the easiest. It's one click away from actually, back in the day, if you had a thought, you just had a thought. Nowadays, you have a thought, you could type that thing out in 3 seconds, and 5 million people could see it, right? So, if it's something that you're passionate about, I think it's super important to, whatever it is, like Perry just said, it's a passion platform, right? Like, and I think the support is and you find your tribe there, man. Like, and I think it's a place where, the people are gonna find you. You don't have to. There's nothing in particular that you have to do or don't have to do. But if you're just being passionate about what you believe in and what you like, and I think that the sky's the limit as far as support is concerned. I think for me, it's changed a lot of things. I've collaborated with a lot of artists from different countries, things that I could never imagine. I've put people on to, certain movements that I'm involved with, and, the certain underground culture that I'm involved with, that just otherwise could never happen. So, yeah, I just think it's super important. I think the support piece, you comment, of course, and you you know, all the way down the funnel, you DM and all that stuff. Just be active and just be engaged and be real. I think is the biggest piece. Just be real. And I think that again should resonate with a lot of people in your tribe.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course, and I love to hear that from an artist, because I think we all know anyone with a personal Instagram, Facebook, Twitter account, they're subjected to views all day, and you know, in terms of getting something behind something they're passionate about, music has always been, you know, in lockstep with that sort of mentality. So I really love to see that, and I love to hear it, just in terms of encouraging artists to get out there in front of it. And I had about 1 million questions lined up here. I think people just inadvertently answered them for me even before I could ask them. But I do have one last question for Perry and Jamie before we take some questions that have been coming in on Facebook and on Instagram. Thank you guys for doing that. It's we love to directly answer your questions. So, but I'll leave it with this. Perry and Jamie, don't know who wants to go first, but you know, Instagram is always obviously coming through with great features for artists, Reels being an example of that. But in your experience, you know, because we're talking about artists just getting started here, what do you think are some of the most commonly overlooked opportunities for artists to connect with fans on the platform, or build excitement around new music, as we sort of divide those two experiences?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good question. We've definitely hit a bunch of them. I would say the other thing that might be of interest, given the fact that people really can't be out on the road right now, which means there's no merch being sold, is our shopping, you know, opportunity. And it's something that we're starting to slowly open up a little bit more for exactly this audience. So we are in the process, just so you guys know, we are in the process of creating some scalable solutions that will unlock a shopping solution for you know, artists that are that rely on that world, on the merch world, on the touring world. So you'll be able to sell directly from your account. People will be able to purchase whatever merch you may have or are going to create. I think that's something for sure. It doesn't hurt to have your brand out a little bit further. It doesn't hurt to put money in your pocket, help with food and rent right now, when we know that that's a struggle and probably will be for the foreseeable future. I think that's it. I do think that the other pieces that I was gonna, and Marlo, you were kind of touching on it. I mean, there's all these subcultures and circles that are happening within the ecosystem that is Instagram. And I think figuring out how to plug yourself into those, sure, you're a hip hop person, or sure, you're an alternative person, or sure, we know that. And it's kind of funny whenever I meet with artists back in the day when we met in person, you know, my first thing would say, hey, tell me all about you except your music. Right. And people would literally look at me like I'm on crack, right? You're the music guy. Why, you know, yeah, we'll get to the music in a second, but there's other things that we can kind of, you know, lean into and you can connect. So I know I keep saying it over and over around these passions, but whether it's advocacy, whether it's, you know, where you're from, personal experiences, health thing, like think of all that makes up your brand. And how do you lean into all those things? And I think sometimes that's just overlooked. People want to post, you know, like Jacob was saying, they want to post the cover art. That's cool from time to time. They want to post as, you know, use your own music, tell your own story, get people to know you, just like the people that you hang out with on a day-to-day basis. That is what people want to do. They want to connect. And now more than ever, I mean, that's what these platforms were created for, was to bring people together through commonalities. And here we are having to isolate and sit in our rooms and homes and apartments and stuff. This is the only way. It's the only way right now. So you gotta think about that top of mind. And who knows, you may connect with a whole audience of vegans who automatically become your friends. And then, damn, I want to do everything that this vegan Perry does. I'm not vegan, by the way, but you know, oh, he's an artist. Let me learn about his music. Oh, he's on tour. The next time he comes around, it just becomes that thing. So I think that's maybe one of the things that I just push on people is the music is there. We know the music is there. You know the music is there. No one's going to forget about the music. What are some other ways that you might be able to leverage the platform to get to that?
Yeah. I think, and I'll jump in. I think looking at it from a more functional standpoint, there are a few things that, to me, have driven a lot of follower growth for artists that I've worked with. Number one, Jacob, you kind of hit on it. Comment, talk with your fans, talk with the people who follow you, and reply to their comments. You don't have to reply to everyone, but when you do, they're going to love it. They're going to take more of an interest in you. They're going to pay more attention to what you're posting. And also comment on your peers' posts. Comment on the posts of the artists that you want to be associated with and the causes and the interests that you want to be associated with, right? And you don't have to drop in and say like, hey, check out my SoundCloud. Like, not that kind of comment. It's like, you inspired my music, something like that. Something that when someone else sees it, when that artist's fan sees it, they're going to be like, who is this person, right? I'm going to go check out this profile, right? Like that does so much, and it's such an undervalued, underused tool that I think it's really, really important to remember that. I think another one, which is maybe a little less applicable in COVID world, is that tag your location, tag a location, right? This is important. You can tag a location even if you're not there. That's totally cool. If you're playing a venue, you're playing Mercury Lounge in New York, Baby's All Right, you're whatever, tag your location there a week before the show so that anyone who's there and opens up that Explore tab is like, oh, who's this person? I see that right there. That post was posted right there. Oh, they're playing here next week. That's cool. Like use those tools to sort of create this awareness of where you are and who you are, while you can't do that right now. And, maybe Europe's open. Maybe you tag yourself at a location in Europe because they can go outside now, who knows? Do it in Toronto, like just take advantage of those kinds of things, which are subtle, but really effective.
Yeah, I think the tagging thing is huge too. We barely touched on it, but tagging is, it's just one of those features that slipped in under the radar. And I mean, I use it all the time personally. And I think back to what Perry was saying. Perry said, I'm in New Jersey, Marlo's in New Jersey. It's like, tag that pizza place. Maybe Marlo knows it. You know what I mean? Like that is, it sounds simple, but it goes a long way and sort of brings some recognition to where you are in the world, literally.
Kevin, what you just said, I think it's great. It sounds simple, so we don't do it. No, do the simple.
Yeah.
Do the simple because the complicated stuff will come. Don't overlook the simple. You need the foundation before you can kind of paint your house, fancy colors. So make sure you got that foundational stuff from location tagging, hash tagging, all that stuff. It's meaningful. It actually does work. So don't bypass it because that's not a big thing. It's a big thing.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I'm gonna take a look at some of these questions we got coming in. I know we started a little bit late just because of some technical difficulties. If we go a little over, I apologize, but I just wanted to do one specific one. Actually, I had this question lined up originally, and I saw it come through, so I held off. I would love to do this like rapid fire. Let's see, Jacob. I'll start with you. So this is just a very common question. Do you believe that there's such a thing as overposting or underposting, and do you have to post multiple times a day? I'd love to hear everyone's opinion on this.
I definitely agree there's a thing as overposting and underposting. I think there's a very fine line between being active and annoying. So you don't want to spam everybody who follows you because that's how you will lose followers too if they get annoyed of seeing you too much. But definitely a big thing of underposting is a real thing as well. You want to show these people you're active. You want to still stay in their face. So it's a thin line, but you got to find what works with your audience as far as posting. I would definitely, like Perry said, a story a day at least, and then keep the regular post to a few times a week.
Sure. Marlo, do you agree?
Yeah, man. I think at the end of the day, it's classic like supply and demand, right? People like if you're doing too much, like people are like, all right, I've kind of had enough of that. But if you kind of parse it out, then you get better engagement. I think like what we talked about today is actually the key, right? You have reels to use, you have stories, you have posts. So like just any content that you have, just try to figure out a way to mix it up so that you're still there, you're still on their heads, but like you're not being forceful and it's not kind of like arrogant.
Yeah. Well, that was a question from Latosk Adams. Thank you, Latosk. I appreciate that.
Can I
please, yeah.
Look, just think about what you do on a daily basis as a fan or as a user of Instagram. What do you swipe through? What do you pass by? What do you stop on? We all know, we all have that one person in our that we follow. I call it ants marching at the top. They post like 97 stories, and there's this dot. You're like, and you pass through, right? So just think about like what do you do as a user? Don't do it to your followers. And I think that is the key. Like there is a rhythm, there is a special sauce to each person. But man, like if you don't post, you're not going to be engaged. It's going to, if you overpost, Absolutely. Someone's going to go, I can't take like every step they took on their hike. It's just not going to work. But you're on a hike. Cool. Let's see the big moments. And you select that. You curate it on your own. But I agree with everything that was said.
There's only so much of a hike anyone wants to ever see, even the hikers themselves, I found. Jamie, I had a question I wanted to direct your way. This comes in from Ghost Dog, DAWG. How many? Oh, no, sorry. Do you have any advice? And I guess we should probably try to keep it brief, but I know this is probably could be a webinar all on its own. Do you have any advice for paid promotions in terms of finding your audience?
It's a good question. I would say start with what you feel like is doing well organically, right? And recreate what you're doing in those posts, because that's what you want to amplify. Look back at your 10 posts, see which one's done the best, and think to yourself, what did I do with that post? And if you have money to spend and you're boosting that, you want to boost that kind of post, not the other ones. That it's going to get a little more love than the others, right? That type of post is going to get a little more love. So that's what you want to do. I think also, when you have, some calls to action, that kind of thing, if you really are asking something of fans, don't do it a lot. Fans don't want to be, like you're knocking on their door every other day being like, hey, come check this out, do this, do this, do this. But when you got something important, making a big announcement, something like that, put your dollars there. Use discretion, be sort of thoughtful about it, but take what you know works, put some money behind that, and then when you have those big moments, put a little money behind that.
Hey, Kev, I think digging onto that one and something you asked before around what tools, totally should have said analytics. I mean, analytics and spending time with your own analytics and a little plug for CrowdTangle, which is part of our analytics team. If you guys aren't messing with CrowdTangle, write it down, go do it now. You can look at your own Instagram information, your own Facebook information. You can look at other artists as well. It's all public, right? So you can go in, you can see to Jamie's point, which of my posts did the best over the past 30, 60, 6 months, 12 months, whatever. Do more of that. Plug those posts. Do more of that type of content. Boost those posts. So CrowdTangle, check it out. We do webinars from time to time on how to properly use it. You can set up alerts to send to you so that you don't even have to check this stuff. It'll tell you when your posts are over indexing. Analytics tool for sure has to be top of mind for everybody.
Yeah, use your analytics. I mean, we're coming from TuneCore here. We're very big fans of that. We're very big fans of checking out who is listening where, on what, and how often. So please use data is your friend, people. And I have one last question. It looked to be a little bit more of a technical one. So Perry, I'm sorry, I'm going to throw this one your way. Tamara Young asked us just sort of about, as an IG follower during a live for most brands, they feel like there's been lower follower counts than normal during quarantine. Do you think this is something technical, or do you think this is just a matter of a lot of people going live during quarantine?
Yeah, it's been an interesting thing that we've been digging into, our data scientists and everybody. During quarantine and COVID, obviously the usage, the viewership, the engagement has gone through the roof. And what does that mean? That means people are being a little bit more specific in their curation. Their curation around who they're following, what types of content is relevant for them. People's mental states are in a whole different game than they were 6 months ago. So maybe they just want to see puppies. Maybe they just want to see a certain type, we're definitely seeing that. And so I don't think it's specific to any, and I don't mean to call out puppies, but I don't think it's specific to any specific genre or type of person or public figure or anything. I think each person is coping with this the way that they cope. And again, think about it yourself. Like, you've probably unfollowed a few folks in the past 6 months because you're just like, hey, I don't agree with them on whatever topic, whatever thing, political, not political. Like, there's a lot of that happening. But I think we're seeing different curations of followers and engagement over the course of the past 6 months. I mean, look, the live thing blew up, and just being very transparent, we've said this publicly before, like, live was not a priority for us right before COVID. we were looking at it, figuring out what the next future of live was going to be, scope out the rest of the year, and boom, all of a sudden it became the way for people to stay connected. And Versus came out, and DJ D Nice is doing cool stuff, and all the right. And all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, like we got to pivot a little bit. We got to get. So I think no one planned for that, right? No one planned for that. So I think the follower count thing. Look, it's what content you're posting. People want to continue following you. Again, I know I sound like a broken record. What makes you continue to follow people as opposed to say, I can probably take them off my list? So that's, think, self-reflect first. Am I making the right content? Am I doing the right content thing? Look, if you think you're making the right content, you're regular, whatever, reach out. Let us see. Maybe there's something wrong. I don't know. Like tech is cool until it's not. And so sometimes there are issues and we can dig into it. But we're definitely seeing, this is not specific to anyone specifically. People are just curating their experiences a little different these days, based on where the world is.
Yeah, thank you, Perry. That's a super nuanced answer. And when I was reading the question, thank you, Tamara, for asking that. I knew that we'd probably have a little bit to jump into. So before we wrap up, we were talking about this yesterday, sort of in light of Reel's recent launch and sort of what we talked about. We wanted to give some takeaways for all the artists who are, maybe a little bit less familiar with Reels, maybe just getting their feet wet with a lot of the new features, on Instagram in general. So Perry and Jamie actually came to me with an initiative for TuneCore artists to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to kick it over to Perry to talk a little bit about this, and I'm going to share my screen to kind of show off the Reels package. Is that cool, Perry?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. And guys, thanks again for taking the time and joining us today. Jamie and I were kicking around. We've done a bunch of these types of sessions. Maybe you've joined one or more of Jamie's indie days in the past and whatnot, where we always kind of leave these takeaways. Hey, how do you actually take something away from this as opposed to just, hey, I saw people and now I'm going to go back to my day-to-day. So what we want to do is we want to give a little bit of an incentive for folks to kind of lean into Reels, experiment with it, play around with it, and ultimately you're going to see the fruits of your labor, right? So we've created these really cool kind of intro kits, kickoff kits, welcome kits, whatever you want to call them. They got the Pivo in there, which is kind of that automatic follow me thing. They got a light ring in there, so you can have, just trying to help everyone step up their game. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to put this call to action out, just like you should do for your fans. We're going to put this call to action out and encourage you over the next 48 hours. Anyone who wants to create one or more reels, do so. Create a reel, select your music so that you can get that exposure. Tag TuneCore, and then use the hashtag #NextBigReels, plural. Next big reels in your reel. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at all of them. We're talking to our editorial team about potentially being able to maybe do a recap, highlight some of them. But ultimately what we're going to do is we're going to pick a handful of the folks that really got creative, really leaned in, really took this seriously, and we're going to ship you one of these kits. We're going to ship you one of these kits so that you can drop your phone in, have this Pivo thing. I didn't know what the hell Pivo was before COVID. My son asked for it, and then all of a sudden I see they're in this kit. It's pretty cool. It kind of gives you that hands-free opportunity to do things. The light gives you the opportunity, and then there's some thought starters in the box as well. So again, create one or more reels over the next 48 hours. Tag TuneCore. Use the hashtag. That's the way we're going to be able to find you the best. Hashtag #NextBigReels, plural, and make sure you spell it right. REELS. #NextBigReels, and let's see what you got. Right? Get creative. Don't overthink it. Have fun with it. And then what we'll do is we'll come back. We'll do a follow up with the folks that ultimately, wound up with these kits and see where you go. But yeah, appreciate you guys taking a look and messing around with it. And hopefully this will help you kind of take it to the next level.
Yeah, thanks guys for doing that. This is really cool. Sorry, go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate here. We want to hear your music. Create those reels. I want to hear your music.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I want you to be giving us your best, right? Like one of the reasons I love working with independent partners. I manage independent partnerships in North America. Listen, I like the music. That's why, right? We want to hear your music. Use your music in those reels. Hashtag #NextBigReels.
It is probably the biggest perk of working at TuneCore. I couldn't agree more. And actually, you know what? I'm sorry. One more question just came in that was directly tied to Reels, so I'm going to squeeze it in. Elizabeth Cleveland asked. This should be a yes or no answer. Is there any way to see the full insights on Reels like you can with posts and stories?
Not yet.
Not yet, Elizabeth.
Soon. You got views, you got comments, you got likes and that kind of thing. We're gonna fast follow with some deeper analytics. So it's coming soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Perry. I didn't mean to leave on such a note. Well, again, I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us, for watching us live. I want to say thank you to our panelists, Perry, Jamie, Marlon, Jacob. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you register with us online, keep an eye out for a recap and a special offer in your email soon. We'll mention that next Big Reels hashtag as well. Till next time, everyone have a good one. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, guys.
Be safe.
Marlo, Jacob, Kevin, thank you.
All right, guys.
Later, bye.